Hi there, my channel Lumiere Skin and Spa. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 biggest lies you've heard about turning 30 or older. This is 360 Anti-Aging TV, where we talk about aging optimally so you can live the longest, healthiest, and your most beautiful life possible. So I originally wanted to call this video the 5 biggest lies about aging. But aging is so subjective that I decided to call it something else. Now, as the CEO of an anti-aging and laser clinic, I have had clients come to me in their 50s and 60s who are in remarkable shape. They're very fit and active that I could hardly call them old. But on the flip side, I've had clients as young as 30 come to me presenting with such advanced signs of premature aging that I could hardly call them young. So let's talk about the aging curve and what it looks like if you are a typical person living in a modern westernized society. So from the time you're born until you're about 21, you're not actually aging, you're still technically developing, right? And from the ages of 21 to 25, this is where you begin to peak physically. And from 25 to 30, you maintain that peak, but from the ages of 30 onwards, you begin a slow decline. This decline accelerates when you hit 40, and it takes another sharp drop when you hit your 70s, until you typically pass on at around the age of 80. Now, it's important to realize that many people living in westernized cultures will spend the last 10 years of their lives in either partial or fully assisted living. This means they will need help changing their clothes, feeding themselves, or going to the toilet. This is not an ideal way to live. And this is actually the first big lie I want to expose. Now, most people buy into the idea that their bodies begin to decline at 30. This is usually the time when creeping obesity begins to set in. Creeping obesity is the gaining of fat, 1 to 2 pounds a year, which, if left unchecked, will often lead to obesity by the time you're 40. 30 is also generally the time when you begin to notice a decline in your physical strength and endurance. 30 is also the time when you begin to notice loss of certain motor functions and some joint pains. Now, shared experiences with other people their same age will usually confirm this, so most people would assume this to be true. Now, while this is true in many westernized countries, this is not necessarily true for other parts of the world. In countries like Monaco and Macau, for example, the average age or life expectancy is not 80, but much closer to 90. And in some areas that are designated blue zones all over the world, the populations live for an average of 100 years or more. As for the decline in physical functions, studies of traditional hunter-gatherer populations like the Hadza of Tanzania show that there is no appreciable decline in the physical functions of people in their 60s and 70s, and they can often keep up with their much younger counterparts. So you can see that not everyone experiences aging the same way. And today, I want to give you the 5 biggest lies on aging so you can look at aging from a different lens. Instead of it being something to dread, aging can be something to look forward to, provided you begin to choose to age deliberately and well. Most of us are blessed with abundant health and physical strength in our younger years, but also, it is often the case that we don't have the resources to fully enjoy them. It is during our 40s and beyond where we begin to gain some measure of financial freedom. Unfortunately, this is also the time in our lives where our physical strength declines. Well, what if that were not the case? What if, instead of being middle-aged at 40, you can join your first ever professional physique competition and win, beating out women half your age? This is exactly what happened to my friend Diamond. She won her first professional competition at 40 and joined and won 3 more after that. Imagine if at 50, you can still climb on a concert stage and perform in front of 5,000 screaming teenagers who have absolutely no idea that you're probably older or as old as their fathers. Or at 62, still be able to train with Navy SEALs and teach them hand-to-hand combat including Krav Maga. Imagine how much richer or fuller your life would be if you will not buy into these lies of aging, and instead look forward to doing more and more as you age instead of doing less and less. Now today I want to expose these lies for what they are in the hopes of encouraging you to be more mindful of how you age. As I always say, if you're not aging deliberately, chances are you're not aging well. But before I do that, I want to ask you for a huge favor. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so that you're going to be notified every time I have a new video out. This will really help me spread my message, and I really appreciate this. Thank you so much in advance. So here we go, the 5 biggest lies of aging. Lie number 1. It is normal to get fat as we age. Now, it's very easy to see why many people buy into this lie, because we see so many people who are over 40, who have protruding stomachs, are overweight or obese. But this is not necessarily the reality. In countries like Japan, Nepal, Ethiopia, Bangladesh, obesity rate is less than 3%. In cultures like hunter-gatherer tribes I've been talking about, the Hadza, the Maasai, the Inuit, obesity rate is virtually 0. Just because you see it all the time does not make something normal. It makes it common, but common is not normal. You see, the human animal was never meant to be fat. And what you are seeing and probably experiencing is lifestyle-driven and not biological. If you find yourself gaining weight in your 30s, know that this condition is very much reversible, and that the younger you start, the easier it is to remove the weight. Big lie number 2. Weight gain is inevitable because your metabolism drops as you get older. Now, research has shown that your metabolism can drop by as much as 11% by the time you reach 70 from when you were 40. But let's look at this research a little more deeply. You see, your metabolism is made up of mostly your fat-free mass, which are your active tissues and muscle. This study was done on Western populations, where their level of activities sharply declined by the time they're 60. Contrast this to the Hadza of Tanzania, who remain just as active at 70 as they were when they were much younger. Research shows that their metabolism dropped by only 3%. Another factor to consider as we get older is the amount of white fat versus brown fat that we have. Most people only know about white fat, which is mostly metabolically inert. What many don't realize is that we have 2 types of adipose tissue. We also have brown adipose tissue or brown fat. And this brown fat is almost as metabolically active as muscle. Brown fat is located in various parts of our bodies, and babies are born with lots of brown fat. This is why they don't shiver when it's cold. As we get older, we lose a lot of the brown fat that we have. But what most people don't realize is that we can actually build and maintain brown fat. And the choice of fuel you put in your body dictates how much brown fat or white fat you're going to have. So be very careful in choosing the types of fuel you put inside your body. If this topic interests you, please leave your comments below in the comment section, and I can do more videos on brown fat and how to build brown fat. Big lie number 3. It is normal to become frail as we get older. Now, most people notice a very sharp decline in their physical strength and abilities by the time they reach 50 and beyond. As I already discussed earlier with the Hadza of Tanzania, most of those people retain their physical abilities and functions well into their 70s and beyond. This proves that this is not biology, but rather a function of inactivity. You see, our bodies have evolutionarily revolved around constant movement. As heterotrophs, we need to move in order to eat and survive. And so nature rewards movement. The more you move, the fitter and healthier you become. The less you move, you become frail and sickly. Now we know that nature does not tolerate frailty in animals. Once an animal becomes injured and frail, nature quickly kills it off either through predation or starvation. It is the same with the human animal. Once we become inactive, our bodies begin to immediately age and die. So, by keeping yourself active, you're keeping your body healthy and robust. Big lie number 4, we have to eat less as we get older. Now, since many of us believe that our metabolism slows down as we age, we therefore believe that we need to eat less in order to remain healthy and not get fat. If you are overweight or obese, then this is probably a good idea, but not for the reasons mentioned above. You see, the body keeps itself young by constantly breaking down and rebuilding old and damaged proteins and cells. And it needs proteins and micronutrients to do this. But our ability to absorb protein and convert them into essential amino acids declines as we get older. And by restricting the amounts of foods we take in, we are restricting essentially the building blocks the body needs in order to repair itself. Now, this is a very nuanced topic, and I don't want to give a blanket statement that older people should just eat more. The simple fact of the matter is, most people eat way too many calories anyway, and it would be a good idea to reduce these. What I am saying is that older people should be more conscious of the quality of the foods that they are taking in, particularly proteins and micronutrients. Reducing calories alone is not the answer. Big lie number 5, probably the biggest lie of all, is that with old age comes chronic, non-communicable diseases like cancer, diabetes, stroke, heart disease, dementia. These are the diseases that kill over 80% of people living in modern populations. And we have been told, time and time again, that these diseases are inevitable with aging and that we just have to accept this as part of life. I myself have been told that I was on my way to having diabetes and there was nothing I can do about it. It was an irreversible condition and that I had to start taking medications early. I was not only able to reverse this for myself, but since then have been able to reverse it for lots of other clients. Think about this. 100 years ago, nobody was dying from heart disease. If a person contracted heart disease, doctors from all over the world would sail to that person just to see what heart disease looked like. Look at our hunter-gatherer cousins, the Maasai, the Inuit, the Kitavans, the Hadza. Heart disease, cancer, strokes, hypertension, these are virtually unknown in their populations. These diseases are lifestyle-driven, not biological. And by choosing to age well, you will be able to avoid these chronic, non-communicable diseases. So there you have it, the 5 biggest lies of aging. I hope this video has inspired you to look at aging in a different light. If you found this video helpful, please do share this with your friends who might need to hear the same message. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel and click the notification button so that you'll be informed every time I have a new video that comes out. You can reach me here with your comments or at our website www.lumierskin.com or our social media pages Lumiere Skin and Spa on Facebook and Instagram. Always remember, if you are not aging deliberately, chances are you're not aging well. Until next time, this has been Mike Chan, to your looks and good health.